What's going on, all you wild backstroke enthusiasts? It's your two favorite Olympic swimmers back here for Cinephellas. I am Michael Phelps, and that is.
I'm Greg Louganis. We're back tonight. We're talking about the first horror film of 2024. I remember last year, I think one of the first one, if not the first horror movie of last year that I can remember anyway, was from Blumhouse, of course, being Megan last year. This year, it's another James Wan produced horror film for Blumhouse. It stars Wyatt Russell and Kerry Condon in Night Swim.
Marco.
New scary movie just released 2024. As we know, it's pretty much usually the dumpster fire of the movie industry, putting out the worst films, and this is yet another example of that, and a very unoriginal and kind of copy and pasted movie with Night Swim. But essentially, the setup is we have the Wallers, Wyatt Russell, and his wife Kerry Condon, and a few kids. Move into a house. They kind of rush it. The dad, played by Wyatt Russell, basically stops his baseball career. So they find a house and has a pool, and it sets up the rest of the film.
They're at this new house. They notice in the backyard that there's this, unused pool. It's, pretty new. It looks new. And so they're wondering, why isn't this pool filled? Why wasn't it being used? So first thing they do when they move there is, let's get this pool going here. It'll be good for rehab for his disease that he's going through, being in the water, doing rehab in the water. It's known to be really good for your body. And so they do that. They get the pool functional again. And that's when the shit hits the fan and they start seeing, beings coming out of the water, especially when they're out there swimming at night for no apparent reason other than to, satisfy this film's premise and title. But that's really where the malevolence comes from in this movie, the evil spirit. They're out there swimming and they notice this, creature, this black figure in the water. They keep seeing it down. They'll go underwater and it'll disappear for a little bit, and then it'll be right in front of them. You'll get a lot of jump scares here and there. But that's basically what happens. Wyatt Russell's character, Ray Waller, his character, like you mentioned, used to play baseball, used to be a really good baseball player. I think they mentioned Milwaukee Brewers, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, after he's been in the swimming pool, he notices that he starts to get better. He starts physically being able to move better, and it's almost a miraculous recovery. So much so that he's out playing baseball with his son, and he takes a couple pitches, does horribly for a couple pitches, but then all of a sudden hits a home run. It hits the light way out in the outfield. It's a monster shot. And yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of cliches in here. That one obviously taken from The Natural. But yeah, that pretty much sets up the plot. While he gets better, evil things start happening to the rest of his family.
Some odd reason, it's a miracle, right? Wyatt Russell and his wife go to the doctor. He's doing much better, and it all has to do with the water, of course, but also sets up some really bad things to the rest of the family, as you were saying, and eventually Wyatt Russell's character. But yeah, this movie is nothing really new about this at all. I think the pacing was all over the place, and just not a very original setup. The first scene of the movie is a young girl in the water and getting pulled down. And that's kind of the setup of it, and it just gets worse and worse throughout the second and third act. It really falls apart at the end of the movie too, but eventually when you get to see what lurks beneath the water, really unimpressive. The visual effects look terrible. It's not scary at all. I'd have to admit, I don't think I got scared once in this film. There's a few really cheap jump scares, but they were just boring too.
Yeah, this movie borrows from so many other horror movies that we've seen: The Grudge, Insidious, Amityville Horror, you name it. It's just a laundry list of things that we've already seen before. And yes, you mentioned the effects, which take you out of the film. CGI in the water, if you can imagine that. At one point, Wyatt Russell's character gets possessed, and you have the black coming out of the eyes, which, they could have used, some practical effects, some paint that would have made it better, but it was actually CGI too. Veins forming in the forehead. It just looked really awful, really bad. And you mentioned the pacing too. Yeah, it didn't click. It never found its footing. Was it the worst horror movie I've ever seen? Absolutely not. It just wasn't anything new, and I wasn't scared at all. And that's pretty much what you can expect from a horror movie in January for the most part.
Yeah, this is from director and writer Bryce McGuire, based off his short film of the same name. Really tapping into the fear that we all have, as being young kids, being out in the swimming pool, especially at night by yourself for some odd reason, and what's lurking beneath. For me as a kid, I always thought, I'm like, is there a gator in here? Is there a shark in here or something? For watching Jaws, all over the place. Not impressed by the directing on this. A few cool shots, like the one behind me. I love the over the top shots of the pool. Obviously, when they're filming in the water. Everything else was pretty forgettable, boring, bland, unoriginal movie, copy and pasted from many others, and big disappointment for me. That being said, I'm going to give Night Swim, currently playing in theaters, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Why Russell hairpieces?
Yeah, really unimaginative and derivative of other films, which is a shame because they had two really good leads here, Wyatt Russell and Kerry Condon. They're both good actors. And they both did a great job here. They just weren't given enough, and the CGI and the jump scares and all that, and the same horror movie tropes that we've seen before. Just unfortunately, the film kind of imploded by the third act here. You do get an explanation for what's going on here, which I thought was kind of cool and clever. And this movie, there was something good in this movie. You could kind of see it there. It just the way it was put together and everything, it just didn't work out, unfortunately. But with that being said, I am going to give a Night Swim. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 Kerry Condon hairpieces. And we'll remember her from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, of course, as Mike Ehrmantraut's daughter.
Yeah, I'm like, I recognized her. Of course, Banshees of Inisherin. She was great in that too. And she's Irish actress.
So we want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of Night Swim? Did you think it was pretty spooky? Did you guys enjoy it more than we did? Or did you guys feel like we did and, it was a stinker? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Also, make sure to check out our website, Cinephellas.com, and follow along with us on all our social media pages. That includes Facebook, Instagram, and X, for all the latest and greatest in TV movie news and reviews.
Also, check out these wild rascals right here in our YouTube channel. Me and this guy over here, this beautiful man right there. I've been recording videos nonstop since the first day of January. We're on January 9th already and recorded quite a few. We're binging TV shows. We're watching movies. We had a big snowstorm here in Illinois, so we got nothing but time to watch endless media and entertainment. So we'll be back every week of the year, hopefully, reviewing movies and TV shows for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, thank God for movies and TV. We never get bored. We always have something to do, whereas other people can't stand. Like, we could just literally binge watch stuff all day, play video games, and be at home, So we're both, fortunate in that. So we're going to have plenty more reviews coming your guys' way throughout the month and throughout the year of 2024. So with that being said, until the next Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Hill.
And I'm Captain Logan Myers, signing out until the next movie review. Cheers!